All right, we're here with Stephen Tulloch, former NFL player, played for the Detroit Lions. Now you have a super successful coffee brand as well, like all over the place. And we're about the same age too. You like just turned 40, or you're about 40 basically?
I'm 40, yeah, I'll be 41 January 1st. Yeah, I got drafted to the Titans in 2006, fourth round, 2006. 5 years for the Titans, another 5 years for the Lions, and 1 year for the Eagles. So 11 years total.
Nice. That's pretty cool, man. What position did you play?
I played middle linebacker. Yeah.
Middle linebacker. Okay. Yeah. So on the defense, you're playing defense, you're blocking people, tackling people. I'm not a huge NFL fan, but growing up, I supported the Niners, out of California. And now I'm in Florida. I retired out of the Air Force. And so, Tampa Bay is kind of close, and Tom Brady was pretty cool to kind of follow along. I like following, greats, folks that are really exceptional at their trade craft, whatever it is. It could be a board game, they're a really good chess player, so I'll just follow them. Or if they're an amazing entrepreneur, which I'm sure you are, I'll follow them. And I want to learn from folks that have these different experiences, because they're looking at the world in a slightly different fashion. And I want to know what drives them. And it's really interesting to hear people's stories and thoughts. And that's sort of the premise of this podcast is, I get to talk to folks all over the world. And so when you finished your NFL career, did you immediately launch into, did you know you were going to do that? Or how did that come about?
No, I retired after my 7th season. And first and foremost, I've always wanted to get into real estate. I've always wanted to own property and own commercial buildings and single family home residential. So when I first got into, when I played, I went to Stanford University. In the off-season NFL, they have business entrepreneurship courses. So I went to Stanford University in Palo Alto, California to business classes during the off season. Then I went to University of Michigan, Stephen Ross School of Business, learned a little bit more. Then I went to University of Miami Business School during the off season. So right before I retired, I kind of knew what I wanted to get into. I wanted to transition to real estate and owning my own business. And so when I retired in 2016-17 season, I went ahead and I bought my first commercial property, which I'm sitting in now. It's a 3-story building located downtown Fort Lauderdale, and I bought some land around it. And then I created Circle House Coffee. I went to coffee school in Seattle, came back, built the brand, knocked out the walls, plumbing, started from scratch. Then I built the brand and we opened up 2019. And then I started building more of my portfolio and buying more properties and getting, a bunch of different leases and developing. And that's kind of how I got into it.
That's phenomenal. Okay, so you're in Fort Lauderdale. You have your first commercial building, which you're sitting in now. What prompted you to jump into coffee? What attracted you to that?
Well, I've always loved coffee, and throughout my NFL career, I lived on coffee. That's how we got up every morning, how we got our day started. Throughout the meetings, it's a lot of meetings. We're on the practice field for a short window, but we're watching a lot of film. So it's either sunflower seeds or coffee. That was it. When I retired, before I retired, I started my foundation, Stephen Tulloch Foundation, which is geared towards people affected by cancer and underprivileged kids. Heavily involved in community since college, even high school. NFL kind of put me in another level because I had a platform I can really reach out to people and let them know what we're doing, how we're impacting people's lives through the Stephen Tulloch Foundation. So when I left the game of football, I still wanted to have that foundation to be able to help bring awareness to people that are in need. So I wanted to create a brand where it's centered around community. So what other place is there than to have a cafe that people in the community come to every day for their caffeinated fix or teas or whatever. So I wanted to create a brand that is still relevant to where I can still get the mission out there to help people in need. So my foundation is a vital part of what Circle House is. It's the why. So I didn't want to get into a business where it was just to make money. It was more so to bring a why to making money, right? So as we make money, we're able to help the community and give back. And so giving back is a big thing to me. I know that I'm here where I'm at in my life and have all these things that God has blessed me with because I help people along the journey. I never forgot where I came from. I don't walk past people who are in need. If I can help them, I find a way to help them. So Circle House Coffee is the foundation for that, right? Our philanthropic vision is to give back to our local global communities one sip at a time. That's our mission. So on our bags, when you buy a coffee bag, you see giving back one sip at a time.
Nice.
Right? Every bag you see, right? So it's the mission, it's the why, it's the impact we're going to make through coffee. Not only do we have great coffee, I believe when you have that why attached to your brand, you can go far beyond you could ever imagine. We're 7 years in business. We're in 100 and something grocery stores. We do the Miami Dolphins practice facility. We do Formula One. We do NFL Super Bowls. We've grown this small idea of Circle House Coffee for $107 on GoDaddy to barista school to now 7 years in, our bags, our products, our canned nitro cold brew cans all over the stores.
Okay.
So we're just growing it and impacting people along the journey.
Nice. That's phenomenal. And you are the face of the brand, right?
Well, I'm the one that founded it. I was on my couch here in Fort Lauderdale, and I was going through Google, GoDaddy, seeing what names are available. Got the .com, got the LLC, LinkedIn, Facebook, created that, and then did trademarking, and then I went to coffee school, and I built the brand.
Jeez. Wow. Okay. And so how large is your team to kind of organize it? The marketing, the sales, the distribution?
Oh yeah. So when we first started, it was me on the ground. I had another individual, was a consultant of mine, very good dude, helped me build it. And then from there, as we went to this brick and mortar, this location that we're at now is a 3-story building. We operate downstairs, the coffee cafe and drive-through. The second floor, which I'm at now, is our offices, inventory, food prep. And then I have my tenant that rents on the 3rd floor. So it started as, 14 employees here locally. And then as we got our first break with our first major grocery trades, Myers, we then brought on a chief of marketing, Sherry Andrinos. We brought on our digital creator, social media. So we're about, outside of just here, we're probably about 5 people outside of the brick and mortar. Then we have a fulfillment center in Kalamazoo that handles all of our fulfillment for our Amazon orders, Shopify, filling our orders for grocery stores. So that's hosted in Kalamazoo, Michigan. But we have a whole team. It's a whole production now. It started as an idea, it became a whole production. So it's pretty cool.
That's really impressive. So starting from year 1, when you first bought the domain, you went to coffee school in Seattle, and then, did you immediately start selling? How did year 1 go in terms of revenue?
Well, year 1's always a challenge, right?
Yes.
It's a challenge to create systems and accountability, having staff. I mean, you're dealing with all different sorts of things, figure out what products work, what doesn't work. So I'll say the first couple of years and then COVID hit, right? But what was so unique about this idea, and what I love most about not just having a cafe, was having a drive-through. I've always been enamored about how Starbucks has drive-throughs, and 80% of our business is drive-through. So it's
really
ongoing. It doesn't stop. But we do have people that come inside and enjoy the community room and sit in different areas in the patio, but that drive-through is just a ticket. So when I bought this building, particularly, it was a single tenant office building. And so what I did was I had to gut out the walls and create a drive-through, push it out, make a drive-through, cut out all the walls, make windows. So this was a big project. This was like a huge, 6-figure project that I invested in. But I just knew that we were the first and only drive-through coffee shop located downtown Fort Lauderdale. And so it was an attraction. So now I'm here for coffee on the way to work. And it just picked up traction. Our cold brew nitro's been amazing. Our lattes are great. And then when we got our opportunity with the Dolphins for the last 4 years, it's really took off for us.
Okay, nice. So, but then first year, did you immediately start selling, or were you just in like research mode, finding teams, failing a lot, right?
Yeah, so the first year was more so trial and error, right? What products can we put out, that they're unique, right? What cakes and pies, our food, right? Who's gonna make our food and deliver it to us? Who's gonna source our coffee? And then, obviously things revolve, right? Now we're selling somebody else's coffee, but now we're going to do our own coffee, right? So now it's cupping and trying out different blends to fit model what we want to do. Outside of that, it's more so, okay, you know what? We should take cash here, right? Let's go cashless. We're losing money. Money's coming missing. Let's get more of a automated system to where we can document what sales come in, so there's no money getting missing, right?
Yes.
Let's go ahead and streamline our employees, scheduling wise. So these are our peak hours. Put 5 people in the morning and maybe 3 people in the afternoon. Right? So let's dial into labor, food costs. Instead of outsourcing food, let's go ahead and have our vendors bring food here. And food prep upstairs. We'll make a food prep area so now we can make food. So now we cut food costs. So it's a journey, right? You can start with higher costs, but then as you dial in, you start lowering your costs, and then things start to
refine that a little bit.
Refine it, and now you're making higher margins, and the business model makes sense. And then now you go outside of these 4 walls. You take on grocery stores, you take on hospitality, you take on teams, you take on opportunities. We do a massive amount of catering. We cater a lot of catering here. So now we have a whole catering part of the business. So I look at it as a pie. Right? Yeah. You have your store, you have your outside distribution, you have your catering, and you have inside patio here that we host parties and events to here. So we've scaled it from the last, from year 3 to year 7, we scaled it, pretty well.
Significantly.
Right.
So how did you What's like the difference? Where were you in year 3 in terms of revenue, and then where are you this year, this quarter?
Well, as you know, the economy's shifted. I mean,
Yes.
I think we all know what times we're in right now, and we've had to scale based on what's going on with the economy, right? So instead of having 5 employees, we might have 3. Instead of having hours until 7, we might close at 5. Right. So we're just scaling it based on where the economy is at. But we're still doing great numbers. This is a 7+ figure business with 1 location, but our distribution has really picked up. Great. Myers grocery store in the Midwest is our first major grocery chain. We started with 2, now we're at 70 something and some change. We just got put on with Kroger's grocery store.
Oh, nice.
There in December. Like I said, we have a great relationship with the NFL. Super Bowls, we've done 3 of those, so we do a lot of their Super Bowls. And then Formula One, we've done the last 4 of them. And then the Miami Dolphins practice facility, we've done that for the last 4 years. We're scaling.
You're on this trajectory where you're just getting ready.
But it's my team. It's not me, right? I'm just, I have the idea, but you're only as good as your team, right? Team together, everyone achieves more. So I always make sure my team is in the forefront of everything that we do, and I support them any way I can support them.
That's the way to do it, because you have to have the right team. And I want to go back to something you were mentioning earlier, where it was, we tried this, we failed, we got a little bit better. And I was just listening to a podcast this morning where it was, this person actually has a chief of failing in their company. And their entire job is to go fail over and over again as quickly as possible, because then you have the ability to reiterate and you bring that feedback into the loop, so then you get better. And so the goal is, your job is to go find different things, go try different things and fail over and over again, faster and faster, so that way we can stay ahead of the competition.
Playing in the NFL taught me a lot. College football, adversity builds character.
Yes.
I'd rather do business with somebody who's been through something than someone who hasn't.
Sure.
I'll give you a prime example. During COVID, I had, I'm a real estate guy. I had an opportunity. I bought some more properties in the local area. And not everything's peaches and cream. Circle House has had its ups and downs. And I give you a prime example of a situation that was a learning, not a loss, but a learning situation. I bought a property, about 1 acre of land and a drive-through building on the main corridor here in Fort Lauderdale, Oakland Park. And I was going to do a second location. I bought it, I gutted it out. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
During COVID, no one showed up. Manager from open the store. It was just crazy. But so what I did was I pivoted, focused on my main location, which I had now, and I leased that, put that other property up for lease. I was able to then find a national tenant called Charlie's Cheesesteaks, which then rented that property from me for a 10-year lease, 2 5-year option, triple net lease. So it kind of worked out where now I'm getting a triple net lease for the next 10 to 20 years on that particular property. I was able to pivot, come back to this location, refine it, take off to grocery stores and make this the flagship store and be able to kind of streamline the business. So now I have another investment where I have a Charlie's and I'm developing some property on the other part of the land. So it's just being able to pivot. Right?
Exactly.
The outside world, I own my property. I don't lease. Number one. Number two, I can pivot, lease it out because it's on a main corridor next to Walgreens, Enterprise, Burger King. So it's a prime location. So within 4 months of me closing, another 4 months later, I had a 10-year with 2 5-year option lease. So it's
So Stephen, did you go into that purchase knowing you had a backup plan in case it didn't work?
Everything I do, I never go just head first into one plan. That's it. You always have to have a number 2 plan because you just never know.
Exactly.
And I know in business that when you lease a property, you're kind of handcuffed, right? But when you own it, you have leverage to be able to pivot and do how you want to. So everything that I have, anything I've ever operated in, I've owned. With grace of God to be able to do that. I'm thankful to have the opportunity to do that. But that particular property is one that I wanted to leverage. It's a great idea. It's a great location. It just didn't work out. 4 months in, I was like, you know what? One day I woke up in the morning, nobody was there. I said, you know what? We're closing that location down for now. We'll get back to it. Let's focus on this flagship store. And in the background, I was taking photos, leasing, preparing it for lease. Had Carl's Burger, Carl's Jr., Polly Tropical. There's so many companies that reached out to me.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's a great position to be in.
So it was a great position to be in, and everything worked out in that standpoint.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, good deal. So you basically leased that one. In fact, it just turned out to be a profitable venture.
Correct.
And then you saved a ton of money, saved a ton of capital, because who knows, you were investing more into that. And then what would happen within that frame. So you come back, you focus on your current brick and mortar.
Right.
Is the plan to expand brick and mortar or expand online and
Well, I'm real big into podcasts and people who generate wealth over time. And what I've always
Okay.
learned in business is it's about residual. It's about making money while you sleep. It's about moving product at all types of hours. Where brick and mortar is great, but you're limited to a certain amount of hours a day, certain amount of
Yes.
traffic a day. But when you go distribution, you have access to international, domestic, and international, right? Where it's just we love your coffee. We hit subscribe. Grocery stores, they send your POs to replenish their product, and it's just ongoing. And so we're
Right.
heavily focused right now on distribution.
Okay.
It's been a great hub for us. Where we know our coffee is great. We have great feedback from our coffee, but now we can send it to the masses. I do a lot of meet and greets, so I'll fly to Michigan and go to grocery stores, meet our customers, explain to them not just the coffee, the brand, but explain to them why, what's behind it, our mission. So every bag that we sell has a story of what's going on and how
Nice.
and the mission that we're trying to accomplish. It has the Stephen Tulloch Foundation, which talks about underprivileged kids, people affected by cancer. Operation 55, being able to go out there and help people in the community. And just a story, kind of letting them know what we do and what we're about. Because when people hear your story and you're transparent through our social media, through our website, we're on the ground. For example, Jamaica, I'm Jamaican. Jamaica's hit with a devastating hurricane, right?
That's right.
We went out, we bought a 20-foot container, which is parked right here in our parking lot. We're filling it up through Circle House Coffee and donations. And I'm flying out to Jamaica to meet the container there to hand them out to the people. So our staff assembles all the products in a box, right?
Wow.
They're part of the mission. So they don't just work here to collect money and make, and leave, but they work here because they're part of the why and the mission of giving back and helping people. So we're developing staff members to see beyond themselves, to see how to impact people along with working and making money, how you can be a blessing to other people. And we create a culture here, right? We don't have high turnover. We have people that have been with me for 4, 5, 6 years.
Wow.
You understand? And they've all grown. As the business grown, they have grown, right? The consistency, work ethic, accountability, being at the forefront, giving great customer service. For me, man, God has blessed me, man. I've been a captain of my NFL team, 7 of my 11 years in the NFL. I understand leadership. I understand leadership is being on the forefront with your team, leading by example. I'm not a micromanager. I don't point, do this, do that. Everything I ask somebody, I do myself, right? And so when my team sees that I'm doing it, you create a culture where now they do it subconscious to know that, we're thinking beyond ourselves. We're helping people in need. And this initiative for Jamaica has been one of those examples.
Are you heavily involved in the hiring yourself? Do you interview folks? Do you look for character and then bring them into your team?
So upper management I do. When it comes to managers and shift leaders, I'm more hands-on. When it comes to baristas, I let my managers do it because they know culture. They know what we expect here, or what credentials we look for. Number one, I don't care if you have coffee experience, but you got to be a good person. You got to get great customer service. You got to be well-spoken. You got to be, have a work ethic. From there, we can teach you all the nuances of how to make a coffee, how to put food in a turbo chef, but we can't teach character, right? We can't teach work ethic, right? So if you have those small things, we can build on that, right? It's like a foundation pouring concrete, right? If it's unstable, you got an unstable foundation. You have an unstable,
for sure,
right? But if you have the core, we can build on that and build you into what we're trying to accomplish here, and you can be a part of our mission here.
Yeah, and I think you're already implementing this. One of the clever ways to build a strong team is exactly what you did, Stephen, is you hire somebody who has the reputation or experience within that particular field, and then you let that person build their own team. Because what'll often happen is these folks that are like high-level executives or, people with experience, they'll have their own following. They'll have their inner circle of folks that are highly skilled. Like they always have, let's say, a marketing person or a salesperson or somebody who can do customer service. And so when you hire this leader, this executive into your company, they will turn around and bring in basically their whole team, and you have like this running structure from day one, and all you did was hire the right person for the right job.
And that same person worked through the system, right? They started as a barista, a shift leader, a manager. Now they understand the whole picture of what the business looks like and needs. So when they interview certain people and they bring them on, they know they're a fit and not a fit because I've been through every process of the business. So now I'm looking at myself, right? I'm in a position, I'm looking at my younger self to see who I'm bringing in and how they fit the mold. And so what that person does as a manager, they know culture and they're creating it, right? They know exactly what it looks like, and they're developing people to take this. So as we scale, these individuals are now taking other steps. There's opportunity for them to grow, right? Through management. So leadership is key. You're not just a point of leader, you're a leader through your actions and how you move on a day-to-day basis. And I've explained that to a lot of my staff members here, and they understand that, and that's kind of what we're doing.
And that's brilliant, because some of the executives that I was just talking about, you actually grew them into the role that they are now. And then as you expand, and you're going to expand rapidly, obviously you're doing all of the right things, you're going to have to like bring those folks in higher. You don't necessarily have the time to build them from scratch, unless you can promote from internal, which seems like.
And that's what it is. When you're a leader, you try to show people, you believe in people more than they believe in themselves. It's how it happens, right? Because remember, we're all created equal. It's just the mindset's what separates everybody. It truly is. What's between this head is what separates people. Are you willing to come early? Are you willing to leave late? Are you willing to put the work ethic in when nobody's around? Who you are defined when you're not around shows who you are. Like, who are you, right? So once you get the mindset to operate at a high level, like, people, you don't understand. Like, I used to always tell guys in the locker room, I said, guys, when you walk in this building, you're being evaluated. You might not think you're watching, but the janitor's watching you, the GM's watching you, the scout's watching you, the equipment manager's watching you. And they're building their ideal of who you are and how they operate. So when they come down to the table of getting paid and getting to the money, they're gonna say, you know what, this guy has great character. He shows up early, he's coachable, he has great work ethic. We got to keep him on the team. He's valuable, right? And that's how I played 11 years, right? I was never the greatest player, but I was accountable, I was consistent, knew my work ethic, knew my mentality. I was coming early, I was leaving late. And God bless me with 11 years. And so I'm trying to transition that to our staff here and say, guys, just because you're a barista doesn't mean you can't be a manager or an executive in the company. Just continue to do what you're doing. I see you, we all see you, and we'll reward you as you go. And so that's what's happened here. A lot of our staff members see that. Unfortunately, some don't, but the ones that do, they do elevate and go on the journey with us as a business.
You mentioned something earlier that caught my attention, is there's a lot of inbound conversation going on, outbound, and then there's a lot of interaction, and that's only going to increase. So for automation into your business, how are you leveraging that today with leads coming in, phone calls coming in? Like, how are you managing all of that with automation?
Well, now it's a team, right? At first it was just me and, a manager. But I think my team, our team is phenomenal. Everyone has their role. So when things come in, they're funneled the right way. I think with AI and automated systems now, I think it's even heightened. I think there's opportunity for us to even scale and get better in those areas due to all the resources that we have. And we're going through those. It's a lot of growing pains because it takes a long time to grow, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey, right? It's making sure everyone's taken care of, and then you make sure you keep some meat on the bone to kind of keep scaling it. So now you have meat on the bone. That meat is, you spread that meat, quote unquote, money to be able to create the systems, right? To be able to create the long-term effects of scaling. So I think that's what we're doing now, is now that we're generating the money that's left over, we're creating automated systems within the business to make it more streamlined, right? We have our fulfillment center in Bridget, where she understands when POs come in or when orders come in from Amazon and Shopify. They have a whole filling system. They're sending it out in 2 days. People order our cans on subscription. We know that it has to be a 2-day delivery because, the spoilage. So we make sure we send out on Mondays and Wednesdays, and they're delivered by Wednesday or Friday, depending on when we send it out. So just creating those systems and automations. Our subscription for our coffee bags, we know that when they come in, and once we send them out, we get an alert that, hey, it's time to send it out again to our customer, that this subscription. So going subscription-based, going distribution, all those things, naturally, you create the system to where it kind of is on auto. So when you ask about scalability, opening up more locations, I'm not opposed to it. I think we can franchise it, but I think right now it's just scaling the distribution is by far the greatest thing that I'm very thankful to have the opportunity to do, is to have distribution, because I just know it's endless.
Exactly. It is endless. And
once you get that product moving, you're rolling. And we know we have a great product, and our why is another reason why the products are being moved. We're helping people on the journey.
A really good reason.
So every time you sip that coffee or you drink that can, you know that you're helping people, and part of our proceeds are going back to the Stephen Tulloch Foundation. And we're transparent, which is the greatest thing ever. I tell people all the time, I say, when you're transparent with people, they never have to wonder if you're shady or you move a certain kind of way, because you're in the forefront of what you are and who you are. So our brand exemplifies in everything that we do. Our social media, our website, our brick and mortar, it exemplifies customer server, helping people and giving back and bringing awareness to certain people that need the awareness for what they're doing.
Nice. So you mentioned the POs coming in, and Bridget's in charge of that, and these POs come in and then they're automated and fulfilled in an automated way. Are you leveraging artificial intelligence as well? How are you guys using that?
Well, I think that's it's new to a lot of people. It's new to me. I know that our fulfillment center has their process of how they do things. I know our CMO Sherry, our chief marketing operator, and Nick and Taylor and Aubrey, they have their way of doing things. They streamline on the back end. I'm on the front end, just trying to figure out, the next play. And as I get the next play, they're figuring out how to make the next play work. So I'm kind of the coach, right? I'm the coach that's in there, trying to explain to the team, and then the team goes out there and says, you know what, I got it, coach. Let me put it this way, bam, bam, bam. They're organizing it. So we all have a hand in this thing. As AI scales, we're trying to do our best to scale with it. Understanding how AI works and how we can implement it into our business to make it streamlined, right? This is all new to us. Year 5 is when we got our, year 4.5, year 5 is when we got our big break, right? We got our team, our NFL team, we're able to get, obviously the Super Bowl, we got pretty early in our year 2, we got that, and the NFL brought us along the journey with them. Just taking advantage of opportunities, and when we have the opportunities, learning how to leverage it and scale it and be smart about how we move through it. Anything that we put our hands on, we put our best foot forward. So it's important that...
I'm sure your CMO is already considering this, but you have artificial intelligence available to you, and it's very, very cheap to begin with. Right. And this is something I teach in my school community as well. You have the opportunity to hire basically an AI agent that can sell your coffee for you 24/7. It can make calls to all of your customer base. So instead of investing into like a call center or having a dedicated person getting on the call and trying to upsell or, calling back folks that have maybe canceled their subscription and offering them a discount to like renew your subscription, you can essentially have for like a couple $100 a month, have a dedicated body that does that 24/7. And then what you see is that compared to like a human, the response rate, the output, the potential revenue is exponential.
Wow. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into that one. That's actually a good nugget there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the businesses that are taking advantage of AI are the ones that are going to be here for the future. And, the folks that are a little bit on the fence going, hey, this AI is going to take my job. Because yes, if you're going to pay somebody, let's say $40,000, $50,000 to be like the sales rep, but instead you can just pay a couple $100 for an AI agent, as a business owner, there's no competition there. But then this person who's the call center sales rep, let's say, they're not out of a job necessarily. What they do is they get promoted. They get promoted to then manage these AI agents. They're looking at the workflows, right? They're looking at the response rates, and they're reporting to you or the CMO basically on saying, hey, we have like 15 agents going on. This one's focused on advertising. This one's focused on sales.
Right.
And they kind of like elevate their own skill level, like the sales rep. And so they're not necessarily out of a job. You as a business owner just don't have to invest in new tier 1 support, right? Like those interns and like the folks that are coming in and not moving up in skill level, their job is at risk.
It is. Because I think that's where AI is starting. AI is starting to figure out how to get lower jobs more streamlined, and then they'll scale that to higher jobs, right? Because we know the pressure is, the quote unquote entry level job. That's the pressure. So we can figure out a way to streamline the pressure of entry level pressure. And as that, we're always trying to find ways to get better. So this keeps scaling up to higher level to where now you have, CMOs, CFOs that are automated to be able to run a whole company through AI.
Yeah, exactly. I know somebody who was asking me, I really need an assistant in order to handle all of my email traffic that's coming in. I need somebody to kind of triage that, tell me what's important, what's not so important. Right. And I told him, well, how much are you going to pay this assistant? And it was something like that, right? Tens of thousands of dollars, basically. And I said, well, why don't you consider using an AI agent first, see if you'll get the same results. And then if it doesn't, you can always pivot and invest a little bit more into a person. Well, the results are phenomenal because now this AI agent is smarter than you. So it knows what you need. It says things like, hey, Steven, I took care of these 3 things, but how about these other 3 things you may not be considering? You're like, well, that was a really good idea. Like, holy crap, like I want that, right? And so that's why I asked, like, you definitely need to jump on that, I think. And then, for example, I'm looking at your website, right? And let's say somebody has questions, right? They land here and they're just like, where do you source your beans? Or, all of these frequently asked questions type stuff. You could have AI sitting on your website that communicates with people now. Like literally just starts talking to them as soon as they land. They hit a button and, maybe the first thing is they'll tell you your whole story, right? Immediately get them convinced on the emotional aspect hook that you told me that, hey, this is our why. And now they're interested. They're like, this is more than just coffee. This is like a purpose. This is like a movement. And then from there, it can start funneling those folks into, have you tried this? Or let us give you a free sample, or let's work some kind of partnership deal. And so you can start capturing, these called like lead magnets on your websites. You could have the chat bot sitting there that can answer questions. You can have a voice AI that communicates with them. You can have a lead form that says, enter your information, we'll contact you back. And then what's really cool is you can have an integrated calendar that just says, hey, if you're a grocery chain or you're looking to be a supplier, jump on our calendar and we'll do a free consultation with you. Here's the clever part. You don't have to jump on that calendar. Your AI shows up to the meeting. So as soon as they enter that form, they put in their phone number, AI calls them on their phone instantly and starts going through the spiel. And it's kind of like the sales, the lead gen, the whole marketing. I'm sure your CMO is already on top of this. I would just kind of like nudge being.
They are, but this is, man, I'm telling you, like, this is brilliant. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. I just get excited, when folks
I'm taking notes. I'm getting excited just hearing you talk about it because I'm telling you, I'm a real believer that things happen for a reason. People are lying for a reason, and my whole life has been that way. You meet the right people on the journey, and you take a bits and pieces of everybody you meet, and you keep scaling. In your own personal life and business. So this is great. This is awesome.
Awesome. So what happens next with Circle House Coffee? Where do you want to move? Where do you see yourself in, like, let's say 2 years from now?
Well, to be honest with you, we want to be all over the country, right? I think right now, we have major footprint is the Midwest. It'd be nice to be able to take our coffee West Coast. Roasters actually in the West Coast in Seattle where we roast our coffee. But to just take it, across the country and then hopefully international. We know with time and with people trying our products and understanding our mission that it's endless opportunity that we have. We have the distribution, we have the fulfillment center. And I think just making people aware that, it's the why behind the business. And if people could understand, supporting Circle House Coffee and what we're doing in the community, they're a part of that journey. So our goal here at Circle House Coffee is to bring people on board to be a part of our journey as we help people affected by cancer, underprivileged kids, people in need. Because I grew up in a nursing home, so this all started when I was 5-6 years old.
Oh wow!
I used to push patients around to bingo, to the salon. So serving people is something I've always done, and that's what Circle House Coffee is. We want to serve the community and serve people in need and bring awareness to people that don't have the voice to be heard. And I think through us right now, even with our collaborations, we've collaborated with United Way on a coffee bag with United Way. We collaborated with Alex Ingle of the Miami Dolphins. We're collaborating with other charities with Circle House Coffee to bring awareness to what they're doing and what we're doing, and just kind of spreading it. I think right now, in this economy and people, it's not just having your own business, but be able to get other businesses on board with the same mission to come together to be able, now we're touching their network, they're touching our network, and we're making an impact together. So I think that's the greatest thing that we're doing now that we're looking forward to is our collaboration with other charities and initiatives. If you go to circlehousecoffee.com and click on our shop with our beans, you'll be able to see the collaboration that we have so far and who we're working with and how we're scaling that part of the business. So there's a pie, like I mentioned before. There's different sectors of the business that we're tapping into little by little. I'm always been a person that's slow and steady wins the race. Get on first base, second base, third base, come home. I don't believe in the grand slam. I enjoy the process.
Yes.
I really enjoy the process. I've never been the best player, but I enjoy the process of becoming a good player, right? And then just taking, from the ground, because you appreciate it more when you go through the process, opposed to just being handed to you and say, this is it.
Exactly.
Right?
You don't appreciate it as much. Right. You want to go through the toil. I want to ask you a couple of other questions real quick. You have the soda can over there, like the coffee can essentially. What other products are you considering? And I ask you this here because there's trends moving, right? And so you probably heard all the teenagers and everybody younger saying 6-7 for whatever reason that's like really popular.
What is
and
that?
So now somebody came up with 6-7 water. And so they just get water bottles, they put 6-7 on it, and now they're like outselling these things like crazy. And the beautiful part is 6-7 is never going away. Okay, believe it or not, it's like people always count numbers, and every time you go through, you have to go through those 2 digits to get to 10. And so this brand, if somebody like jumps on it, especially with like water, coffee, whatever the case is. So, my question was like, what other brands are coming out, and are you considering social media trends to like jump on those waves?
Well, the thing about it is, I think with trends always fade. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's hot for a second and then it dies down with just a trend, and that's when it becomes old, right? So what's stabilized, right? What stabilizes you? We know that coffee's been stable. One of the highest commodity is coffee in the world.
Yes,
100%. Right? That ain't it's not going anywhere, right? People love it. They make it at home or they come here every day, right? So I don't think coffee is a fad. I think it's something that's here to stay. So I do think fabs are good for short-term runs. maybe creating a fab bag, quote unquote, something that's like 6-7 water, but how long can 6-7 water stay along? Until that kind of fades, right? I know, and I believe that the Circle House brand in itself is one of those brands that are here to stay for a long time, right?
Yes.
Circle House, right? A circle, a house of giving back, right? And I think the initiative, I tell people all the time, our why is what makes us successful. Yes, we have great coffee, but people want to be attached to the why. And being transparent in that why is everything. You know what I'm saying? People want to know that they're attached, and when they're paying for something that is going to a good cause, and I'm getting a good product at the same time. For a prime example, we're doing in Jamaica, we're getting a group of people who understand Circle House brand to be able to fly out there and be able to serve people on the ground, right? And we're doing this through our revenue of coffee, to get us to be able to do those things. So I think for us, that's the real trend. It's a long-term trend where we're making impact in the community, and that's our brand, and we're going to do that no matter what, as long as this brand's alive. Right?
Heck yeah, that's awesome. I like it. And I want to reiterate one more thing is that chief of failure. I think that's a phenomenal idea. I just learned about it this morning. Like I understood the concept of iterating because in like my military background, it was, hey, we need to try so many different things and then fail. That way we can get smarter. So like this fad idea that, we just talked about, 6-7 water, whatever. Maybe it's like a failure, but we won't actually know until we get the chief of failure to go get some water bottles, stick a label on it with Circle House, call it water, put 6-7 really nice, and then go to the local fair, wherever the next community event is, and see if you could sell some of them. And then who knows, maybe you sell out and it like turns out to be like this really amazing thing, because then the next iteration of that, instead of water, maybe now we add some flavor to it. Right now there's strawberry and cherry and whoever, and the next thing you know, PepsiCo's like, hey, we'll just buy this brand off you because we don't want to compete with you. We'll just take it, and that's their model anyway, right? They just look at any kind of like drink that's coming through, and then they just buy it, and you can just like off it to them. So what, my recommendation there is for anybody that's listening is never write off something, because you never know. You have to hit that wall as hard as you can and then fail, see if you can iterate. And if it truly is a failure, and then you maybe have your thresholds, like, hey, after this certain amount of money or this certain amount of time, we will qualify that as a failure and we'll move on to something else. Have you heard of Parkinson's law? This is where you say yes to everything, and then it comes onto your plate, and then you prioritize based on your time and resources. So it's like somebody comes up with an idea, you're like, let's give it a shot. Throw it on there, you go through it, and then based on just your available time, because there's only a finite number of time that you have and resources, you're going to prioritize it accordingly. And then, so what happens is you try out so many different things, and the ones that stick are the ones that get prioritized.
I agree. If you have an idea and you believe in it, it could happen. Now it's on you to put the work ethic in to make it happen. Yes. Right? If you could think of it, it could happen. But now, do you have the will and fortitude to be able to see it through? A lot of people will see it through to a certain point, it's too much, and they give up on it.
Yes.
But the ones that understand that it's ebbs and flows to be able to see your vision come to fruition, those are the ones that get to that point. Those are the ones that create products and things that last forever, inventions, patents, that change the world because they stuck to it. So I call it sweat equity. I'm not getting money on the front end, but I'm looking forward to the back end. I'm a long-term investor. When it comes to property, I'm thinking long-term. When it comes to this business, I'm thinking long-term. As long as my staff gets paid and we can reinvest in the business, I'm okay with that because it's about the long-term goal.
Exactly.
So when you think short-minded, you get short results. When you think long-minded, you get long-term results. And so the Circle House Coffee and everything that I believe in is all long-term.
Man, that's phenomenal. You're a really impressive person, Steven. Like, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast today, talking about Circle House Coffee. The purpose is amazing. Your background, did MBAs, you studied all the way through the off seasons. You had an extended career where somebody, typically averages like 3 or 4 years in the NFL. You made it last to 11, retired out of that. You're a real estate mogul. You're in my state, Florida.
Florida, okay, cool.
It's really, really nice to meet you. You also have a code, Sonic10. If you use it, you get 10% off. On subscriptions, on your initial purchase as well. I'll have nice little screenshots throughout the pod. But what would you like to say as a parting shot?
No, I think you said it, chief of failure. I think I've been through so much adversity in my life, from how, from growing up and to the challenge of people saying I wouldn't be something, I'm too small, I wouldn't make it, I'm 5'10" and a half, I say I'm 5'11". But the will and the mind, the mindset, the heart, putting your best foot forward every day. I think that's something that I really, really believe, that if you believe in yourself, it doesn't matter about things around you. If you believe in what you're creating and what you want to do, just do it. People are going to doubt you. And for me, doubt makes me want to work even harder to prove them wrong and prove to myself that I can do it. So if I can attest to anything, you know, believe in yourself, stay consistent, don't cheat yourself. There's no shortcuts to success, and you got to find a team to help build your journey and go along the journey with you. And so those are all the things that we've implemented, not only just Circle House Coffee and my real estate, but just in life. You know, team together, everyone achieves more. And I'm really, really thankful for the team that I have, and looking forward to the future that we're going to.
Very well put and very wise. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.